think.
Hello. There you go. Good evening. Welcome to the April 6, 2022 meeting of the Eureka Springs Historic District Commission. I'm Steve Holofield, Chair. Kyle, will you please read a call to roll?
Marty Kogan.
Here.
Maggie Hayde.
Hayde.
Sorry.
And I'm here.
Judy Holden.
Absent.
Dee Bright.
Here.
And Kyle Palmer is here.
Great. We have a quorum for business. The Eureka Springs Historic District Commission is empowered by the Eureka Springs Municipal Code to issue a certificate of appropriateness for alterations of exterior architectural features, demolition, and new construction within historic districts. We use the Eureka Springs Historic District Design Guidelines and U.S. Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties as the basis for our decisions. The Commission can take the following actions on an application: approval with modifications, denial, or deferral for more information. Appeal of denial may be made to the Circuit Court. Public comments on agenda items will be heard as each item is called. Other comments will be heard during the public comment period. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Dee Bright made the motion. Kyle seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So that's 4, 0. All right. I guess we'll begin with public hearing. Start with that. I'll go ahead and read the first part, though. Public hearing, 6 p.m., level 3, 3 King Street, solar retrofit mounted on rear roof slope. We did the agenda, no old business, new business. 1, level 2, 29 Elk, install 6-foot wooden privacy fence around backyard. Number 2, level 2, 5355 North Main, remove rear deck. 3, level 2, 14 Judah, construct composite rear deck. Number 4, level 2, 2 Cross, construct gravel parking area, install metal gazebo. Number 5, level 2, 80 Lookout Lane, exterior rehabilitation parking area. Number 6, level 2, 226 Spring, exterior rehabilitation. And on number 2, that was 53 through 55, I assume. Okay, and we'll stop there. And the public hearing, we haven't done that before. Kylie, what's?
So this is just a normal level 3, just popping it up at the top. And I believe the property owners are here. I don't know if I see.
Anyone here for
Scott Walker?
3 King Street? Nobody?
No? Okay, well, I'll go ahead and present it. The property at 3 King Street was originally constructed as a large 3-story National Folk Eye House. In 1999, this building was partially destroyed in a major fire and was rebuilt in its current form. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to re-roof the entire house and install a 24-panel solar array on the rear roof slope. In evaluating this request for alterations at 3 King Street, staff make the following findings of fact. The proposed solar array is appropriately positioned on the rear roof slopes, and it would not be visible from the public right-of-way. Further, this is a non-contributing building constructed in 1999. The proposed alterations align with standards and guidelines, and staff recommend approval of this agenda item.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at 3 King Street as proposed.
Second.
Could I make a comment? It's stated that the date of construction was 1999. So was the house totally destroyed by fire? And so this is a reconstruction, a complete reconstruction.
It's a reconstruction of the front portion of the house. It was 3 stories, and it was reconstructed only as 2 stories.
So we should say the construction is 1999 and not refer to it as built in 1910.
Yes.
I think that's important because for all intents and purposes, it is not a historic house.
Yes, exactly. I tried to make that distinction. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear.
Yeah, date of construction is a little confusing. Date of construction instead of like
Right.
last time
So
construction.
it's a reconstruction,
Last time construction occurred or something like that, yeah.
yeah.
So I have a question. What's an I house?
It's just a type, a form of a house.
Oh, really?
It's the shape, essentially.
I've not seen that before. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0. Next up is number 2, 53 through 55 North Main, remove rear deck. Do we have someone here for that property?
Elk Street, 29 Elk Street.
Oh, I'm sorry, hold on a second. I jumped ahead, it confused me with the King Street. Number 1, level 2, 29 Elk Street, install 6-foot wooden privacy fence around the back. We have someone here for Elk Street. Sir, do you want to step up to the mic, introduce yourself and your address?
Yes, sir. I am Daniel Jackson. I'm here on behalf of 29 Elk Street. I am the contractor that is listed on the application, a new bath and remodeling. If you need a copy of my license, I did bring that. It was not included in your order.
The property at 29 Elk Street is a single-family Queen Anne East Lake-style residence designed and built by W.O. Perkins in 1909. The property is contributing to the Eureka Springs Historic District. The applicant seeking a certificate of appropriateness to install a standard 6-foot-tall wooden privacy fence around the backyard. In evaluating this request, staff makes the following findings of fact. The proposed fencing would not impact the overall architectural integrity of this property, and the alterations align with standards and guidelines. Staff recommends approval of this agenda item.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at 29 Elk Street as proposed.
I second.
Sir, do you have anything else you want to add to that description, or?
The closest residence is a bed and breakfast, which we have already talked with the owners, and they are on board with this as well.
I don't know if Marty was on the commission at that time. I know Steve and I think were. They tore down that old garage in the back, so that slopes down quite a bit. The yard's quite deep in the back, so the fence won't be real close to the house, I don't think.
And it also will look like an existing fence that's just 2 lots down. So there is already that material and structure present.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Anybody? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. 4-0 carries.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, thank you, sir.
Sir, we'll get you your slip just a moment.
All right, now we have 53 through 55 North Main, remove rear deck. Y'all want to come up to the mic and introduce yourselves and give us your address?
Robert and Andrea Evans, 53 through 55 North Main Street in Eureka Springs.
The property at 53 to 55 North Main Street is a non-contributing commercial building constructed around 1965. This property has had significant alterations, including several projecting rear additions. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to remove a platform deck located at the rear of the property. This deck is non-historic, constructed at an unknown time, sometime after 2005, and is currently in major disrepair. It also does not conform to current building code. In evaluating this request for alteration, staff makes the following findings of fact. This deck is currently non-compliant with building code and due to its condition presents a safety concern. These alterations align with standards and guidelines, and staff recommends approval of this agenda item.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at 53 through 55 North Main as proposed.
Second.
Dean made the motion, Kyle seconded. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Number 3, Level 2, 14 Judah, construct composite rear deck. Do we have someone here for Judah? Ma'am, you want to step up to the mic and introduce yourself and your address, please?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Janet Seafelt. My husband and I live at 1828 North Indiana Avenue in Oklahoma City. We own a second home here at 14 Judah Street.
The property at 14 Judah Street was built in 1906 by C.A. Stillions, a well-known stonemason who worked on a number of projects in Eureka Springs, including the courthouse and Basin Park Hotel. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to install a 468-square-foot deck on the dining room addition. The deck will be composed of mineral-based composite decking with a matte black aluminum railing. Black diamond lattice will be used as skirting, and stairs composed of the same composite decking material will descend along the additions to the west and north and at a diagonal to the southeast. In evaluating this request at 14 Judah Street, staff makes the following findings of fact. The proposed deck may be slightly visible from the street, but is appropriately located at the rear of the property and appropriately scaled to the yard and building. From the public right-of-way, the MBC decking will be indistinguishable from wood. The proposed alterations align with standards and guidelines, and staff recommend approval of this agenda item.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at 14th Judah Street as proposed.
Second.
I see you expect to use plastic lattice.
Yes.
I think you should probably use something other than plastic. I mean, that's according to the guidelines. On a historic house, you're not meant to use, I don't have the specific guidelines in my hand, but to use plastic on a historic house is just not historically appropriate.
Do you have your decking with you?
I have samples of the composite decking and the picture frame board.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying.
She's bringing samples.
And if I may...
I know what that is, but I'm talking about plastic lattice as skirting. I'm not talking about fake wood as deck.
If I may respond, we looked at both alternatives. The wooden lattice presents a problem. Part of the reason that we went with composite decking is because of the high rate of saturation with the humidity level here. When we looked at wooden lattice, one, it poses a maintenance problem, and two, it comes into contact with the ground. About 2 years ago, we discovered a termite infestation and had termite
That's
treatment.
normal.
We had termite treatment put in. So we looked at the plastic alternative because where this lattice will be located is in direct proximity to where we had a termite infestation. It was recommended to us that we not use any wood in that area, as it might re-attract termites, which we do not want, as we've spent several $1,000s eradicating them. The lattice is much like the composite decking. It is indistinguishable from wood at a distance of 5 feet. It will be black rather than wood-colored so that it is less discernible to the eye. That is the reason we chose to go with a composite lattice that is made by this same company. It is not a cheap-appearing lattice. It's quite a lot more expensive than regular plastic lattice. It's made by this same company. And it is textured. It does have the appearance of wood in the same way that the composite decking we've selected has the appearance and the feel of wood.
Do you have a sample of the lattice?
No, they would not ship that. It's only cut in pieces that are 3 by 3, and they would not ship a sample to me. It has to be special order.
I know in our guidelines, original materials preferred, but have you seen anywhere where it's on the lattice
It
work?
does state that non-wood material, fiber imports, may be approved for rear decks that are not visible from the street. These materials are not appropriate for porches. But we're talking about skirting, which is not the same thing as a deck.
That's why I was asking Kylie, do you know of any place that has lattice work mentioned specifically?
No, not in the guidelines.
Yeah, I know the decks are, but, okay.
And I drive past this home every day, and from the area, if you're going up Armstrong, the one that goes straight up to Judith, you're going to have to turn your neck clear back to see anything. You'd have to come down Judith, which is a one-way, and I just don't think people would see it.
The skirting is not
But
visible from the
It's
street.
not a matter of whether it's seen or not. It's a matter of whether it's appropriate to the house and to the historic integrity of the house.
Are you talking about the deck, or are you talking about the lattice work? Dee?
Either one's not going to be very obvious from the street.
I mean, it wasn't so many years ago that it was not appropriate to use fake wood on decks. Like maybe 8 to 10 years ago, you had to use wood. And so that now they've relented and they've allowed composite material.
The one of the house that when I moved here 20 years ago, we know it as the veranda. The newer people don't know it that. It's the big white house up
Yeah,
across
I know
from the
that
crest. That is composite, and that was composite in 2002 as I moved here. So I wasn't on the commission, but that sets a precedent.
If they put composite material 20 years ago, they were not in compliance.
Right. I didn't realize it'd been around that long.
Yes.
Because I know that there was a house on Steel Street that wanted to put the composite build on her back deck, and it was disallowed. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
You're able to have your composite decking, but I'm talking about plastic lattice work. And, I mean, my opinion is it's not appropriate.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? So Dee made the motion, Maggie seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No,
So under this, I could say aye. Motion carries 4-1. Number 4, level 2 cross, construct gravel parking area, install metal gazebo. Anybody here for 2 cross? Yes. You want to step up the mic, introduce yourself, please, and your address?
Ruth Seymour, 2 Cross Street. here in Eureka Springs.
Thank you. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, I saw her walking away, I thought you were walking away. Hey, these lights up here, I need some
Yeah,
sight.
it's hard to see.
Yeah.
I mean, everything looks real dark out there to us.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right.
The property at 2 Cross Street is a brick ranch constructed around 1965. It is non-contributing to the historic district. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to construct a 12-foot wide by 16-foot long gravel parking or multi-use area. Cinder blocks will be used to create the retaining wall, which reaches 4 feet of height at the rear. A metal gazebo measuring 12 feet wide by 16 feet long will sit atop this gravel area. It has metal supports and a standing seam metal roof. In evaluating this request, staff makes the following findings of fact. Although guidelines state that ancillary structures should be set at least 2/3 back from the front facade, many properties in this neighborhood and properties of this time period have attached carports which are accessed by a driveway from the front of the house, so this may be considered appropriate in this case. The concrete block proposed for the retaining wall matches the foundation material for the main building and also may be considered appropriate in this case. The gazebo can reasonably be considered impermanent and will not be attached to the main building. The proposed alterations align with standards, but variance from the non-historic neighborhoods guidelines may be appropriate due to the age and architectural details of this property. Staff recommend approval of this agenda item due to the impermanence of the gazebo and the considerations stated above.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at 2 Cross Street as proposed.
Second.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Dee made the motion, Kyle seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0. Now we're number 5, level 2, 80 Lookout Lane, exterior rehabilitation parking area. Anybody here for 80 Lookout? Okay. Introduce yourself and tell us where you live, please.
Shelby Rogers, and I have 80 Lookout Lane.
Okay.
The property at 80 Lookout Lane is a non-contributing residence with neo-folk Victorian details. The property began as a single-room cabin, which was expanded in the 1950s. A small rear shed roof addition was added in 1989. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to replace the current siding with hardy cedar mill lap siding, replace the existing soffit and fascia, replace the existing scallop siding and the front gable with hardy shake siding matching the design existing, replace existing board and batten siding with hardy cedar mill board and batten, replace the current windows with wooden windows, replace the existing picket fence with a 36-inch iron fence, create an off-street parking area measuring 13 feet wide and 22 feet deep, refurbish the existing wrought iron metal stair railings, refurbish the window ornamental trim, and install aluminum gutters along the horizontal eaves downspouts, and install downspouts at corners.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness at the work at 80 Lookout Lane as proposed.
Second.
Any other comments, questions, anybody? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. 4-0 carries. Dee made the motion, Kyle seconded. Didn't say that first. And number 6, level 2, 226 Spring, exterior rehabilitation. Someone here from Spring? There you go. Hello. Introduce yourself, please, and where you live.
I'm Carl Arquizo and my wife Arlene Arquizo. We are looking to restore 226 Spring to the Italianate form using fit form and materials appropriate with basically wood to replace the existing siding and rehab the windows to form as is along with the doors.
The property at 226 Spring Street was constructed in 1886 for John and Mary Carey, the proprietor of Carey's Hardware Store in Eureka Springs. The home, as originally designed, featured a second-story walkout deck on the facade, Italianate details like the wide, elaborate cornice line with large eave brackets, window enframements that nod to the more ornate, high-style varieties, and restrained, full-width, single-story porch are all typical of this style. According to documentary history, around 1900, a second-story roof was added to the front porch, which unfortunately covered the architectural details of the windows and cornice line. At unknown times before 1965, the rear balcony, which can be seen in Sanborn maps, was removed. Windows and doors were added and removed, and further changes were made to the facade. Around 1965, the second-story porch was removed, and the front porch was redesigned as a front-gabled, single-story porch. A retaining wall failure in 1996 damaged the rear of the house. Since around 2001, the property has been vacant, and despite the former owner's attempts to restore this property, the property remained neglected over the past 20 years. In 2019, the property was declared a nuisance property, and the approved plan of corrective action was never completed. Subsequently, the property was put on the market.
I move that the Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work at 226 Spring Street as proposed.
It didn't come out very good.
That's okay. Any questions, comments, anybody?
No, I just want to say thank you for buying this home.
Yes, bless you.
We've all been looking at this house sitting there empty for a lot of years.
And I've been on the commission about 17 years, so many times we've given approval and very little's happened, so thank you.
It will be a labor of love.
Yay.
Yay.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. We'll give you a certificate real quick here.
You guys just don't know, we're ecstatic.
Moving on with the agenda, consent agenda, level 1, applications that the city preservation officer believes to be in accordance with the design guidelines. Any commissioner or member of the public may move any consent agenda item to the regular agenda for discussion. Number 1, level 1, 171 West Van Buren, new sign. Number 2, level 1, 55B South Main, replace deck railing. Okay. We signed off on that. We don't read the administrative approvals, right?
Well, we do need to vote on this. I
Oh, yeah.
make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented to us.
Second.
Dean made the motion, Kyle seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. 4-0. Administrative approvals for the City Historic Preservation Officer. Applications for repair of work involving no changes in materials, changes in roofing and paint, colors, signs. 13 items, 14 items listed here. We don't read those off. They're listed on the city website. Commission business. Number 1, approval of minutes from March 16, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Dean made the motion. Kyle seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries 4-0. Oh, no, we can't. I can't. And so it's still 4-0. Maggie abstains.
Or one, yeah, she just abstained.
Yeah, she didn't vote against it, she just wasn't here, so. Agenda setting for April 20, 2022 meeting. Anybody want to add anything to the agenda for our next meeting? No. Next meeting, April 20, 2022, Level 2 applications due Thursday, April 7, 2022. Level 2 applications due Wednesday, April 13, 2022. Do we have any public comments tonight? Anybody want to say anything?
Did you want
Speak
to
up.
make comment? Yes.
Any of you, do you want to make comments?
Do you like to make anybody want to make a public comment about anything to do with the Historic District Commission?
Anything at all
To do with the Historic District Commission?
to do with what you just talked about? And that, I didn't hear what you said, what you were talking about.
Well, you can comment on anything that has to do with the Historic District Commission. Anything, not just what we talked about tonight. Okay. All right, Commissioner comments. We'll start with Ms. Maggie.
No?
Dee?
I'm just thrilled. My Kansas Jayhawks won. And I also want to point out that we have a vacant seat. So we are looking for another commissioner. So if you're interested, go talk to Kylie at the city building and fill out an application.
Wonderful. And Marty, any comments?
I just want to know what Eureka-style rock walls are. What is Eureka-style rock wall? I've never heard that statement, that designation before.
As far as I know, that's a company name. That's the only.
Sorry?
I know that that's a company's name here in town. Dan Halverson's company is called Eureka Style Rock Walls.
Oh, it's a company name.
Yeah, that's his company's name.
It's not a particular style
No.
wall then?
No.
Okay, I was confused.
Good to ask. Kyle?
No comment.
No. I received this postcard in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
Yay!
Did y'all get this? From the city of Eureka Springs. Hey there, neighbor. We've been in the process of updating the Eureka Springs Historic District Design Guidelines. These guidelines assist with decisions making by outlining appropriate exterior changes to historic properties. As part of this update project, we want to hear from you. A draft of the guidelines and workshop dates can be found at the link below. Please feel free to leave comments using the form on the webpage, and has the address and stuff. I like the picture on the front. Shows the existing house that with the old kind of faded. Just pretty cool. I like that. And my neighbor, Becky Gillette, asked me about doing an interview, but I told her to call you first, Kyle.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Is this a railroad? I've been asked that by several people, and I don't recall there was ever.
I think it's the old trolley
Trolley.
lines, and they used to go up to the Crescent Hotel many years ago, but they've all been pulled out.
So this rail line is not,
I think it was a trolley line. It was the rails for the trolley.
It's not there anymore.
but for a trolley, there has to be an overhead, so I don't see that. And then, so this structure, this house has been colorized.
That's a new
Yeah.
color now.
I did that in Photoshop, so I took a current picture and overlaid it with the historic photo, and then just Photoshopped around it.
I didn't notice the lady standing there in the old part of it. That's
No,
cool.
she's real. I thought it was
Yeah.
a fantastic picture.
You know,
That's
it's
a great
back,
picture.
I mean, yeah, that picture exists. I mean, it is in the historic
So
file.
but it's been colorized.
Well, it has a modern photo laid over it. So the color part is what that house looks like today.
So is that,
I'm just surprised that this picture was used to designate the historic district of the town.
Well, I'm sorry, I did the design myself,
I mean,
so.
that's just my thought.
I liked it because it shows the old and it fades the new. It comes around. All right, director comments?
My only comment is I gave you a really giant packet. This is the draft of Chapter 4 of the new design guidelines. Folks that get the postcard, that tells you how to get to those design guidelines, but they're available at espreservation.org/draft. We only have Chapter 4 right now, but I'll be updating that as we get the rest of the chapters. So we can discuss these at the next meeting, give you guys some time to look over them, because there's a lot to digest.
Great.
Didn't Butch send us all a copy of this? I mean, an agenda saying that we could zoom in on this podcast for this? I think so, because I saw it online a couple months ago. Did you all see that? He sent out an email to everybody indicating that this architecture styles and guidelines would be on a podcast, and invited the commissioners and anyone else interested to
I do vaguely remember that.
be present.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he sent something out, but this is
Sorry.
the work, I'm asking Kylie a question. Is this the work from the guys in,
No.
Yeah.
No, this is different. From the Lakota group?
yeah,
No, this was something completely different.
Yeah, what we have is from the Lakota
Group.
from the consultants that are remaking our guidelines. So I think that's something different than what Butch sent out.
I think so. All right. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
so moved.
Second.
Dee made the motion, Kyle seconded. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Opposed, say no. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.